What's up, party people? I'm back with another breakdown of a slow sim offense. This time we're talking about the Dallas Cowboys. It is a West Coast zone run offense, but I'm going to give you a bunch of other schemes that you can use to work with this. You're generally going to expect 225, 250 passing yards, more of a balanced offense. Definitely get your rushing temps up. And I also think that it really features the tight end. You can get a lot of tight end yards and tight end touchdowns. I do see a lot of tight end touchdowns, whether or not the yards are real high or not. But there seems to be a focus on the tight end in the red zone. I also want to let you know I didn't use any uh, play sheets from the coach for offense to skew these at all. Everything went towards the defense as far as play sheets went. And that's pretty much it. So let's get into this breakdown. We'll just go through some games and point out some stats that you can expect and see if you want to use it. And in case you might be stuck with using the Cowboys offense, because sometimes in these slow sim leagues, you got to use the playbook of the team that you're taking over. So let's get into it. And also, please like and subscribe, hype this video, join the community. We'll be starting a Discord server soon. Like to get some leagues going, whether it's quick sim or slow sim. And there's all different kinds of slow sim and quick sim variations we can do. I'm very excited about it. Anyway, here's a little breakdown of the Dallas Cowboys offense. So quickly, before we jump all the way into this and start going game by game and showing you some examples of results, let's talk about the three best schemes I think work well with the Cowboys offense. Some of you might check out after here. Some of you might want to see some examples. So I got you covered. West Coast zone run, vertical zone run, and air raid I think are probably the best. Saw some decent results with West Coast spread, multi-power, and multi-zone. And that's pretty much like all the schemes. But those three, West Coast zone, vertical zone, and air raid, seem to work the best. So speaking of air raid, that's the first one here. Packers put up 33 points. And you got Jordan Love, 249 yards passing, 24 for 28, 4 passing touchdowns. And Josh Jacobs had 21 carries for 86 yards, plus Love had 9 for 20. Tucker Kraft, 6 for 69 and 3. Matthew Golden, 6 for 52 and 0. Josh Jacobs, 5 for 39 and 1. So you're not really seeing a lot going to the outside. That's kind of the example on that one. And then next one's the Bengals. Their defense is so good, maybe. So the Bengals, 326 yards passing for Joe Burrow, 33 for 38, only 9 carries for Chase Brown. Burrow did have 5 for 21. T. Higgins, 6 for 91 and a touchdown. Chase, 5 for 75. But Gesicki, 8 for 50. And then the next one we can talk about here is the Titans. At the Titans circle here, they won 2017 over the Rams. So Cam Ward only 184 yards, 11 for 15. But Tony Pollard 17 for 150 yards and a touchdown. I don't know if you can hear this in the background, but I got another simulation going. That's 8.8 yards a carry. And then, of course, A.O. Manor had 3 for 72. He had a big catch. I remember watching some of this. And actually nothing from the tight end. Interesting. The Ravens were in the vertical zone run. Lamar only 116 yards, 16 for 22. But Derrick Henry, 18 carries for 152 yards, 2 touchdowns. Lamar had 10 for 66. Justice Hill also had 6 for 21 and a touchdown. Mark Andrews, 5 for 36 and a touchdown. And not a lot to the outside. Again. And I believe Bateman's in the slot, so he was their number one wide receiver. What's next? 49ers and Saints. Now, both of these teams fed the tight end. The Niners were in vertical zone, and the Saints were in multi-zone. Brock Purdy, 259, 2 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. He had 40 attempts, only 10 carries for McCaffrey. I don't know what was going on here. They might have been playing from behind. But George Kittle, 7 for 98 and a touchdown. And then if you look at the Saints, Juwan Johnson, 8 for 135 and 2 touchdowns. Yeah, pretty evident of what this focuses on. How about the Cardinals were in the air raid offense? 24-21. Kyler 190 yards, 20 for 28. But Trey Benson 14 carries for 107 yards. Kyler 9 for 88 and 3 touchdowns. Trey McBride led them in receiving yards at 3 for 43. Zay Jones 4 for 38. And not really forcing the ball to the outside. Then you had the Eagles in the West Coast zone run. Of course, the Eagles are just going to dominate. Jalen Hurts, 265 yards, 25 for 29, 1 passing touchdown. Saquon Barkley, 24 carries for 108 yards, 2 rushing touchdowns. Hurts, 2 rushing touchdowns. And A.J. Brown, 1 rushing touchdown for 19 yards. Goddard, their leading receiver, at 5 for 89. A.J. Brown, 7 for 74. Barkley had 5 for 28 and a touchdown. Are we getting the picture here? And then we have the Falcons and the Vikings. Falcons were in vertical zone, and Minnesota was in West Coast zone run. So we'll talk about the Falcons in the vertical zone. Michael Penix, 224, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 17 for 28. But Bijan Robinson did have 17 carries for 111 yards and a touchdown. Drake London, 5 for 136 and a touchdown. He had one real long one, but the next guy is Kyle Pitts. And then when we go and talk about the Vikings, which is good to see here, J.J. McCarthy, 16 for 22, 187 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. Look, Jordan Mason, 14 for 88. McCarthy was 8 for 64. Aaron Jones, we can get anybody's name right, 5 for 2. Justin Jefferson did have 9 for 105, but there's Hockenson, 3 for 46 and 2 touchdowns, getting that love in the red zone. And then the last one I think we want to talk about is this Chargers-Raiders game. This is West Coast zone run versus vertical zone run. So the Chargers were in the West Coast zone run. Justin Herbert, 185 yards, 21 for 28, 1 touchdown. Marion Hampton, 23 for 120 and 2. Najee was 6 for 23. Herbert had a rushing touchdown. McConkey was 8 for 61. And then kind of just spread around here. And when we look at the Raiders side, 247 for Geno, 3 passing touchdowns, 15 for 22. Genty was 12 for 67. And then Brock Bowers, 3 for 103. Now, I will say, I did test out, look for stars on Geno, and he found Brock Bowers on like a huge 51-yard play. So, other than that, Genty got a receiving touchdown. And I will say, not two teams, this is just a little added thing. Two teams generally, even if they're in playbooks that run the ball a lot, only one team's going to run the ball more. One team's going to be trailing and they're going to be running less. So you don't expect or freak out if your team doesn't run the ball enough. Game script matters. Only it's kind of just what happens in the NFL. Not everyone runs the ball enough or effectively. One's going to be controlling the game. They're going to be running more. So just so you know, like they're all in the Cowboys offense and just different schemes playing each other. Some destroy some defenses, some get shut down by certain defenses. It's what you guys expect. So anyway, just trying to help you out. If you want to use the Cowboys offense or you have to use the Cowboys offense, West Coast zone run, vertical zone run, air raid, please like and subscribe. See you later. And we'll keep doing this. I think we're working on Denver's playbook next.